what a great name for a ruffian. That's a very white word. A hooligans.
Yeah. Next is from our boy Brad Zawacki from Grit Baseball. Will this week's K100 Talks
Shouts out to Brad.
What up?
be the most talked about in 2024? Assuming it's about the assassination attempt on Trump. Are y'all disgusted at people on social media calling the shooter a hero? What's your thoughts on conspiracies on the assassination attempt being a setup? Last question, what will be talked about more, the J6 insurrection or the Trump assassination attempt? God bless America. So, I want to, well, so where were you when you, so I was, I took a nap on Saturday and I woke up and I like pulled my computer out and went on Twitter and like the first tweet was from like Ron DeSantis and he was saying our thoughts and prayers with Trump and his family right now. And I'm like, oh, I'm like thinking,
right. What's
happened?
The first thing you thought?
He got killed or something. Right. So then I went again. That shows he got shot, right?
Right.
So, my initial. So this is because as we're recording this, all right. My initial reaction was, and you go on Twitter, of course, and this is the one thing I hate about social media, is when something like this happens, like within 2 minutes, everybody's got their opinion. They figured everything out. You know what I'm saying?
Always, always on
always.
Everything.
Right. So of course, you had the staged. What'll work? You had those people.
Right.
You had the people immediately, blaming which I think is, we can talk about this, like, the rhetoric.
Right.
Like honestly,
we can live because we talk about it and we're living it.
Of course, but like you can obviously point to the fact you can say that Trump, that his rhetoric has turned up the heat. But I would say when you call people specifically like people on the other side, when you start calling them Nazis, fascists, Hitler, existential threats, that's the type of stuff that, like, okay, if that's what those people are, then the solution to deal with people like that is violence. That's like almost when you're using that type of language, like the right, like the right doesn't use that type of inflammatory language in describing left. We just call them lefties, libtards, that type of language, right?
My favorite, snowflakes.
Snowflakes, right. When you start using the term like equating people to like Hitler,
right?
You're good, and we know, bro. It's like we've seen in society, especially with mass shooters. Okay, they're on the fringes of society. There's people that are nuts and might act on stuff like this. So even though most people are logical, reasonable people are not going to try to kill somebody or attack somebody, we get out of the fringes of society on the bell curve, and at the ends there's a collection of people that might get triggered enough to act like this. So we need to be responsible since not using that language. However, my point is, with this shooter specifically, my thing is like, okay, the guy shot the president. That's all we really know about the guy. Like, I want to know more about, like, was there a
Did you see that video of him talking about, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. We've seen just a couple videos.
Yeah, no, but I just wanted to know if you saw it.
Right. I want to hear this guy's, like, supposedly had no social media.
Right.
He had, they said he was a registered Republican. Okay, but like that's
But he fucking hated
in Ohio.
Him for some reason.
Well, the thing is, in Ohio, like a lot of people registered as Republicans so they could vote against Trump in the primary. That was like a thing, right?
Right.
He supposedly donated to Act Blue, like years ago. But I'm like, the kid would have been like 14 years old when he did that, and I'm like, that doesn't seem like that's a weird story.
What's
Act Blue is the deputy. If you vote to Act Blue, goes right to the Democratic.
Okay.
Piggyback, right?
Yeah.
But the kid would have been like 16 years old. Man, it was $15. Big deal. So politically, we don't really know much about the guy other than the fact that this guy was enough to take a rifle, sit in a building, and try to kill Donald Trump. So obviously, this guy's got just. I don't think it takes a genius. Trump derangement syndrome is probably a motivating factor here if this guy actually tried to shoot the guy in the face, right? But I would say, what if this was just a schizophrenic, crazy kid? Like, and I'm bringing stuff like this because we don't know anything. Motivated by, like, maybe, like, video games and stuff. Or, like, like I said, we don't know as much as we
just
need
those
to.
loners that you see in school and you're like, this guy's going to grow up to be weird. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Yeah. And supposedly he was bullied in high school.
There you
relentlessly.
go.
But it's weird.
That's why I don't bully Joe
That's
anymore.
a narrative. That's a
Well, this is the
narrative.
thing.
There's one kid that said he was bullied. Every other kid's like, nah, he was just a dude.
Well,
But
who
bro,
is it?
but
Let me
look
ask
at
you
him.
this.
Doesn't he look like somebody
Oh,
that would get bullied? Pasty skin, white,
Hey,
fucking,
okay,
just
but
fucking, just he looks like a dork, dude. You know,
he
you don't
looks
look
like
like
a
a
lot of
dork
people. He looks like a lot of people.
that get
His,
bullied.
his looks are not surprising. Put it that
Yeah,
way.
right. And
okay.
he looks like
So
the type of guy that
point
gets
this out.
bullied.
I want you to hear more about this guy.
Right.
Like what Joe, like you said, what have you heard? Like where did you hear this?
Oh, I've been reading all weekend, dude. They interviewed
Okay, but what
people
are you
from his
reading?
high
Are you
school and
reading like
stuff.
actual? Are these
Yeah.
verified stories?
Yeah.
Because I've been looking too, and I don't. I have people see just random people tweeting things, and I'm like, that to me is not a reliable source of information.
Yeah.
I'm looking
There
for
was
reliable
one-
sources of information, like direct interviews,
Yeah.
like if they had it, like they had at the rally, where
Yeah.
people were getting interviews
Oh.
saying, "Hey, I was telling the police the guy
Yeah.
was up there." Like you know
Right.
that's what I want.
Did you?
People that knew this kid.
Right.
I can
Yeah.
tell me about this. What do you know about this guy? Like
Because we don't know if
you
the person's lying.
Yeah.
That's
right, right.
that's how
I wouldn't have said it.
that's how
Yeah.
bad it's gotten, Joe.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said it except, like I said, I saw that narrative first, and it was like one student that was like, he was.
This is the guy that just spelled faux everybody, by the way, just so you know.
Right.
Yeah, man.
But
Trying to
so
be
where
different.
were you, Joe, the first
Oh.
when you heard it, and what was your first thought? Because then I'll follow you.
You know, my wife always has the news on, like even on mute and stuff. And she happened to look up at the TV. Oh, he's in PA. Let me see. And she put the volume on, and it happened. So she had it on DVR. But knowing her husband's can get frazzled a little bit, she's like, I didn't even come down to tell you till I saw him get up and they took him off stage. Because if he was dead, I didn't want to. She knows I'm getting off the medication, all this shit. She's like, I don't want to fuck with you, But so I was like, I went up and watched it, and it was like, it sounded like a firecracker, and it was like, oh, he got shot with a BB or something. You didn't know, it didn't. And until later, when I found out that people were killed, it was like, oh. But my reaction was so surprised and not like my dad and I on Thursday talked about it. He's like, someone's gonna take a shot at him, and it's just something you expect. I've expected it for years, but now that it happened, I couldn't believe it. That's
That's
So-
Ben Shapiro the thing. Shocked but not surprised.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It's,
Right.
it's the perfect
So
reaction.
right.
So go ahead.
So believe it or not, I was watching AAA on Unimas, and there were like 5 minutes left, and then it came up on the screen, and I was like, what the fuck? And bro, this is just my problem now with the government. That first thing I thought is, what a work, because I thought for myself, how did you shoot 5 times, only hit him once, and when you hit him once, you hit the ear? But I have my theory on that, and I'm probably correct. And how if you almost got shot and you could still be shot, you're getting up and going, fight. It almost looked like it was booked.
Totally.
And
That was the
and
initial
bro-
reaction from a lot of people on social media.
No.
Too. Go ahead.
but let me ask you a question. But I will say this, dude. Remember when Pac had been shot 9 times, and then when he came out, or whatever it was, and he came out of hospital and he was shooting the double birds? But
Yeah.
dude, but the difference is Pac had already been in the hospital for hours, and he
Yeah.
probably had some pain. This was on the spot. If I'm almost got shot, I'm not thinking of going fight, which makes him look like a G if it really
Yeah.
did happen. Okay,
Yeah.
you got to respect that shit.
That's
That's how his mind thinks. Media, I'm being
Totally.
televised. I have a
Yep.
debate coming up. Like that, I think that's just how his mind works.
That was like
and it's
PR
funny because
Yeah.
it's funny because for a smart guy, because you have to be brilliant to get from where he was to where he is now. He says a lot of stupid shit. But anyways, and I just thought to myself immediately. I thought, why was there nobody up on that trailer? Okay, why wasn't there nobody around the perimeter? And then on top of that, I thought, well, maybe they don't give as much social security to Trump as they do Biden. That was what I was thinking. But at the same time, I thought, what if this kid, maybe they gave him some drugs that CIA has, convinced him to do this shooting, and then he does it, and he says, we're going to give you this money or whatever, or a new
get you out of
thing in his case, and then they just shoot him for real. Or maybe they shoot him and the guy had like a Kevlar vest on, and later on they're gonna fucking, because we haven't seen autopsies. They blew his brains out.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
I got.
Then so okay.
Yeah.
So, but that was my thing, because when I first heard it, and I know about ammunition sounds. I could literally hear one and tell you what it is. Most of the well-known ones, bro. It sounded like a paintball gun. I go, did this guy have a silencer on it or something?
Weird.
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it was very weird noise. And here's the other thing which was weird. And I'm not saying they're in on it because they're not. Why weren't people running? People were just kind of maybe because they were in shock.
Yeah, it was
Shock.
like, what is
Where are you
that?
going to go? Because they were
Get the
focused
fuck
on
away
shock.
from there. That's for sure.
Well, they were
That's, I
focused on
just
what
want to
language.
jump on what
The,
you said, Konnan. To me, it was like having the presence of mind to go, wait, and put up the fist and go, fight. I was like, bro, his mind must have worked exactly what you said, like PR. Like he's like, I got to make
Right.
something out of this. Like that
Right.
quick, he thought. Like,
Well, that's how he made himself. PR. The Kardashians probably think the same. Like Jake Paul probably thinks the same. They're just, okay, how do I go viral? How do I do this? How do I?
And those guys are coming out hard.
And
Jake
you know what I
and
think?
Logan Paul. Yeah.
You know why I think he missed Feeney if he wasn't, set up? Because, bro, he's, how old is he, Disco? 20? No.
20 years old.
20 years old. And you're about to shoot the president. He had to be nervous. He ain't a sniper.
Yeah, he had training at a shooting range nearby for a couple of
Still,
years. before he
dude.
went there.
Still, you're about to shoot the president. And there's
Yeah.
a very good chance you're going to be caught, killed, or arrested, or beat up, or all. You know what I'm saying?
All right, so
There's
here's the stories that I got out of this. So first of all, the look at my face on the screen, right?
Yeah.
So you see my head turn right here?
Oh,
So-
yeah. He said that if he wouldn't have turned his head, he
No,
probably
no.
would.
So look at where my head's turned right now, right?
Right.
Now, if I would have, like, the bullet would have hit me right here. I go right through my brain. If I didn't turn, now the bullet is like, bro, that like this literally just like turn his head just like a quarter of an inch saved him from getting hit right in the side of the head and his brains getting the bullet go to his brains.
Wow.
Right? At that exact moment. All right. So the one thing that everybody
did you read what he said about that? About turning his head?
yeah, what he
He said
said.
I should be dead.
He said, when I make a speech, this is probably true because he says, I always face straight forward, right?
Right.
I face the people, I face the camera, always. He goes, I decided to turn my head and that saved my life. I was like, holy shit. And then on top of that, Melania, who never shows him any affection or love, she was like, hey, thank God my husband. And she never refers to him as her husband.
Yeah.
So I think they must have told her, bro, you have no clue how the father of your son almost just got killed.
Yeah, right. So let's talk about this. So this was interesting because a lot of these social media posts will be made by people that have been in sniper training and counterterrorism measures and stuff. And
Okay.
like everybody and their mother is saying, wait a second, this doesn't add up because the line of sight from that building thing that obviously should have been secured. So hundreds that's a close shot is what they're saying, right? So that building was supposed to be like, if they said, like, I've been watching a lot of guys to talk about this and say, like, I used to be in counter sniper training, like when we did this for political figures, right? And you go in there a few days ahead of time, you get everything set, you look at the things, bro. That building should have been like what do you want to call it? Secured,
Right.
like there should have been police around. This
Right.
kid got a ladder and like just climbed up with people
Put a
yelling at the
rifle
law
on the back.
enforcement to tell so there's obviously, and I don't know if maybe you got local cops or whatever, and these people are, police aren't did this because this kind of speaks volumes of like a problem that we have today in general, is that we don't really have a lot of good quality people to do jobs like this. Like you looked at the Secret Service agents, right? Half
Yeah.
of them were like girls that looked like they were out of shape.
About the chick that couldn't get her
and
gun in the
I'm
hole.
sitting there going like, yeah, I'm going like, those are Secret Service. So recently, this has been a thing for the past year. The Secret Service, the director of the Secret Service, has been talking about DEI incentives, like diversity, equity, inclusion, hiring incentives, and they were proud that 30% of the recent applicants are all people. The women who are applying for this job, and they're proud of that. And I'm like, time out, okay? Because this is a problem in society that we have, and I don't care.
We're
People
inclusive.
get involved in
Yeah.
the conversations, everything, dude. Security protection needs to be done at the highest level by grown-ass men, okay, that have strength and ability to protect, in case there's a physical attack by somebody else. You have to be you can't have a bunch of just diversity hires in positions like this. It's ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? So like this speaks volumes of like problems that we're having in police. Like I said, what if the police are just like it's a local police force, probably a bunch of out of shape, like Barney Rubble, Barney Five types and stuff. And bro, it's a big problem. And the thing
report I
about
read,
it is,
DI, was I'm sorry, go ahead, finish. Well, there's
I was gonna say
the security service, the security service, the Secret Service from this pretty hot off the press article was like the day before the rally, we pinpointed that as an area of concern, and we passed it on to the local police. So there's a blame game going on, but they knew that building was bad news.
Yeah,
but listen to this.
But ultimately, the blame game for the Secret Service, if you outsource security, okay, you need to have somebody to supervise the outsourcing of security to make sure they're doing their job too. You just don't say, okay, local cops, you got this.
Right.
You know
what explanation would you give me, Joe, which I'm not putting it on you because I have nothing to do with it, for the perimeter not being secured, point blank, and for extra security, some motherfuckers up on the roof.
Right.
You had them in the other ones.
Disco. Like, I'm sure Disco's been watching some of the same videos I have. Konnan, you've probably seen some too with these ex-snipers or even ex-Secret Service that are like, I don't want to say this could be a conspiracy, but this doesn't make sense. How could this kid? I want to know where he was. Maybe Disco or Konnan, you've read this. Because to me, it's like, all right, the people see him putting the ladder up. But where did he come from? Was he hiding in the building?
No, I saw a picture today before we got on here. A few hundred yards away, he drove up in a van and walked up behind, like up the thing, behind the thing up to that building. Like there was the area behind it. He walked all the way up there with a ladder and a gun.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
He walked with like a tailgate party.
I mean, come on. It's like
that's almost like remember a couple years ago, which fucking blew my fucking mind.
Watch your language.
I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Blew my mind.
You won't use political talk, so it's
All right, go ahead.
Blew my mind, right? Remember when some guy got into the White House like twice, two different guys?
Yeah.
How do you get into the White House?
I don't know. Like I mean, here's my theory, okay, is that every job, whether it's professional wrestling, police, teacher stuff, there is a percentage of the workforce that is not qualified for the job. And I think it's usually people that about 10 to 15%, because 10 to 15% of your staff, like over a given month or two, are getting replaced. Like people are getting fired all the time. Like for at our job, we're firing people all the time and hiring new people, like because there's a percentage of people that aren't good at their job. Right. I just think in positions like this where we think we're hiring the best people possible, maybe we're really not. You don't know like what security is like for the president and everything until you watch something like this and people are going like, tons of people are saying, how did this happen? This seems like incompetent, logistics, and I'm just wondering if bro, that's if the Secret Service is like, there's a collection of incompetent people working there and things like this happen.
Yeah. And also it's
really
like
the only solution, the only explanation. Go ahead.
Look at the time. It's almost like if you look at it like a fighter or something. We haven't had an attempt on a president's life in this way since 1981. So the Secret Service has been undefeated for 40 years, let's say, right? So something ain't right. And it's like I sent this to you guys. I wanted to read it so the listeners could hear it too. It's from the movie JFK, but it's based off this guy's real thoughts and statement. Donald Sutherland played this guy who was Black Ops. They took him off the Kennedy detail. He didn't understand why. Here's what he said about Secret Service planning. He said, we would have arrived, this is 1963. We would have arrived days ahead, studied the route, checked all the buildings, never would have allowed all those wide open windows overlooking Dealey Plaza. Never would have, we would have had our own snipers covering the area. The minute a window went up, they would have been on it, on the radio. We would have been watching the buildings, checking for baggage, coats under the arms. Never even would have allowed a man to open an umbrella along the way. And never would have allowed the car to slow down and take that weird curve. And he says, you would have felt an army presence on the streets. None of this happened. It's a violation of the most basic protection codes we have. And it's an indication of a massive plot in Dallas. That's about Kennedy. But to me, that's
let me tell you this too.
Security, right?
Well, this is the simple thing too. The main thing that people are talking about, right, is for literally 2 straight minutes. There's a timestamp. I just watched a video earlier today. There's a timestamp superimposed of Trump talking on stage with timestamps of the videos of people alerting the police, hey, there's a guy up there with a thing. And the fact that there was no communication from the police looking up, seeing the guy on the roof, communicating to the Secret Service, get him off the stage. like that process did not go through, which is like, and it makes you. Everybody's saying that does not add up. Like, why were they not communicating to get the print when they saw the shooter?
Not only that, did it seem to you like it took an awful long time to get him off the stage?
Well, that
why
was
would
him.
you let him? Why would you let him be facing the people going fight? He could get shot by somebody else.
Well, they knew it was down.
Trump,
they knew
the picture.
the guy was
it was
down.
a breach of protocol.
But how do you know there's another guy? There could be two shooters.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. That's how. This was very lax security. I hope all of them get fired and put in jail.
Well, nobody gets fired in the Biden administration. That's a crazy thing. Like, who was the last person the Biden administration got fired? Other than the guy that stole the luggage. That's it. And he got caught twice. He didn't get fired until he got caught the second time.
Well, he should.
That's right. So like,
I'll tell you about a couple people.
Administration never fires anybody,
Local to me, which is, but there's a local fire chief in a town called Prospect Park, 2 towns over, basically, who went on his social media like a dumb fuck and went, "Oh, just a couple inches to the left." Smile. Well, he's fired. People outcry about that.
I'm not.
And then there was a state rep. State rep of ours said it too. And we're like,
you know what? I'm actually glad that he didn't get shot, and I'll tell you why. Because there's a very good chance, and again, I'm gonna go back to hip hop. This could have turned into a Biggie Pac thing. Oh, you killed our guy, we're gonna kill yours.
I'm worried about that.
Bro, you still have to worry about reciprocation.
Right.
Where another crazy guy tries to kill Biden, thinking like it was justified and stuff. But and this is my conspiracy theory.
Do you think it'll be Teddy Hart?
No. I just would not think, because of this is terrible news for Democrats, because the whole thing now is like, everybody's like, oh, this just won Trump the presidency. So the only thing that can flip the narrative is if Biden got killed.
Right.
And I wonder if there's people, this cabal of these elites that are like figured out, or look at this, like, look, the guy's brain dead anyway. Let's just off him. And and that'll be like, I don't know. I wonder if they would be willing to sacrifice Joe Biden getting shot to flip the narrative to get another candidate to get it back.
The problem is that what's her girl, Kamala? She's like Hillary Clinton, and not because they're women. They're very unlikable, right?
Right.
And and this is why Trump or his staff, they're so smart. Who does he go out there and get but the fucking the guy from Ohio, J.D. Vance?
I don't know anything about him.
Who's a millennial. Well, I'm about to tell you. He's a millennial, and he's in a swing state, which is smart, right?
Well, that's what they got him for. They said it's because he wants to get the vote out, and they want to win the swing states, which is why he picked this guy as the vice president.
Right,
he's good in the swing states.
And Ohio's close to most of the swing states. Okay, right. And then on top of that, I think he's the first millennial that's a vice president or something. He's a millennial.
He's young.
He's 30. Good. He's early 30s.
38 maybe? Oh, is he early?
No, he's early 30s. Yeah. Wow. And maybe he's older. He's under 40 for sure.
Right.
I think you're right, 38. So, but Kamala is 59, okay? And here's the thing that endeared him to everybody, okay? The white working class, what Trump always aims at, because he had that book where he talked about poverty in Kentucky, that's in Ohio where he's from, and then also I think his mom was an addict, and people can super relate to that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And Kamala comes from parents like his mom, who is like Indian, was
his wife, he's got an Indian wife with 3 mixed biracial kids.
Yeah, no, but Kamala's mom.
Oh, Kamala's mom, yeah.
Yeah, Kamala's mom, right.
Like and Asian or something, right?
No, she's from India. Okay. But she was like studying what's this shit called? Like breast cancer research and getting paid in Berkeley. Okay. Right. And then the dad was like a professor of economics or some shit, and they both had PhDs. She comes from money. You know what I'm saying? This guy doesn't. That's a way better story, especially for the white working class. He's one of us. He knows what we've gone through.
Yeah, you get the billionaire guy, the billionaire tycoon guy like Trump with the working class guy,
right.
That's why when my wife said, "Hey, he picked J.D. Vance," and I'm like, I don't fucking know who that is, but I was like, "Is he a white dude?" She's like, "Yeah." I went, I would have rather politically. optics had him bring
At
on.
first, he was going to pick
Vivek or somebody.
The Indian lady. What's her name?
What Tulsi Gabbard
Yeah,
was going to, or
and
Nikki Haley was
Nikki
they were
Haley.
talking about, yeah, but they wouldn't.
Nikki
Too many
Haley,
people don't like her too.
and
so.
he was also thinking about the Cuban Marco Rubio, but
Right,
he went with. I think that was a good choice.
right.
Better than
Yeah, but then it's like then he's kind of like, you know what I was thinking about that too. I was like, they're going to look at it like, because they would spin it as
Trump DEI.
Trump is doing a diversity hire. Like I said, like they would make it look like hypocrisy and stuff like
Right.
just But yeah, I don't mind a VP
And
picking.
here's the other thing.
I mean,
Since the 60s, Ohio has always picked the winner, and
Right.
then like about 4 years in the last elections, they just turned red because if you remember, Trump endorsed them.
right.
And also Ohio, it's where that train derailed, and they've been very fucking very displeased with how the Biden administration responded to that. They don't have no time for Palestine, Ohio. They got time for Israel and Palestine, but not Palestine, Ohio. So.
Right.
So let me tell you this real quick. So remember that I told you, remember the kid that got into the White House?
Yeah.
Yes.
There's a couple here we've missed. So I'm just going to tell you about 3. So
I just said, Jesus Christ.
So in 1985, this is pretty ballsy because nobody had entered the White House since 1945. This guy, Robert Latta, gained access to the White House by following the 33 members of the Marine Band past security while carrying an overnight bag. He was able to wander around the executive residence for 14 minutes, but was apprehended by Secret Service agents. Wow, he could have done some damage in 14 minutes if he had a gun.
Yeah.
2009. So Carlos Allen, Mashal Salahi, and Tariq Salahi showed up uninvited to a state dinner for the Indian Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. That's great. Doesn't go into details. You could probably look it up. 2014, I remember this one very well. Omar Gonzalez jumped the fence from the Pennsylvania Avenue side of the White House and entered through the north portico doors. Upon entering, you're going to love this, DI. Upon entering, this normal civilian, well, I don't know, he might have been in the army. He overpowered a Secret Service officer and ran through most of the main floor before he was tackled by counter-assault agent. Okay. And then 2020, this is inside the White House. Actress Maria Bakalova, portraying her character Tutar during filming for Borat's subsequent movie film, gained access to the White House by shadowing the AON journalist Chanel Ryan. She attended a Donald Trump speech and was able to speak to Donald Trump Jr. The footage from the incident was not used in the film, but shared online later. That's fucking some balls.
Just two things before we roll out on this. One is you're already seeing, like as you said before, and I brought up already, the perception of Trump. Now you got 50 Cent doing the song Many Men on stage with fucking Trump's picture, with Trump's picture behind him. It's like, it's going to turn, like, already there was already, the blacks for Trump, Hispanics for Trump. You saw these things popping up, but I don't know how much more support
the same amount, the same amount of people that talk shit and hate Trump, Biden's getting it too, and so is the woke faction. It's really ugly. Yeah.
It's very ugly.
Never seen America like this, bro, and it's a shame.
The last thing I want
to say that politicians themselves have fanned the flames. It's almost like the media did in the hip hop wars.
And I had a clip of like 4 minutes of Democrats saying, "Get in their face. There should be an uprising," and they're all doing
there's basic hypocrisy on both sides that each side ignores.
Right.
Like nobody wants to accuse himself.
Everything they complain about, they're doing it themselves.
Of course, yes, and that's
It's like remember when Vince used to say, "Oh, Ted Turner stole all my talent." Well, you stole all the talent from all the territories if you want to go there.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, everything whenever there's an action, there's an equal and opposite reaction.
Right.
It's just like I said,
and it's incredible to me that more people haven't woken up to this. They're still, you know what I'm saying?
Here's the thing. Okay, it used to be the politics was a tennis game of hypocrisy,
right?
Where the ball goes boop, boop, but now it's a ping pong game of hypocrisy because all the shit travels so much faster now. Boop, boop, boop. Like you're just back and forth being hypocritical against each other. So, and then you have to find like what are the facts out of all these things that happen, like who's on the right side of the argument. And it's like you never really get there because the next serve comes up and you start volleying
and
around.
it's almost like it's almost like Uzi drive-bys. One guy goes, and then the other guy can,
right,
bro.
it's just back and forth. So,
But,
it's ingrained in the American psyche and consciousness, or at least mine and people my age. I don't know about younger than me anymore, but that if you look at American history, who's been shot at, who's been assassinated, it's always been somebody who was going to change things or was even a rabble rouser or whatever. And if I miss anybody, you can name them, of course. But I mean, Lincoln, Kennedy, Martin Luther King, blah, blah, blah. Now you've added Donald Trump to, and I'm going to vote for Trump, obviously. But he's not my hero. I'm not crazy about him. So that's why I kind of find it amusing that now he's on this list almost of like the American martyrs. That's what you did. Way to go. You've made Trump a martyr and a hero. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. No, he is to a lot of white working class.
Yeah.
Okay, so tremendous conversation. If you got any comments on this subject, send it to keep it K100questions@gmail.com. Keep the letters short so we can read a grip of them. Boom, we keep it a 1,000. Wow.
And can you imagine the TV numbers on Friday when he makes his appearance?
Ridiculous, bro. Ridiculous.
What's going to be Friday? He's not. I thought he was going to come out today.
I heard Friday, and then my wife was showing me the pre-show, and it was him dancing.
It's Wednesday,
YMCA, like he dances. That was the pre-show. Like what?
Yeah, the double jerk off. But I think it's bro. Did you see real quick, Disco? Did you see Bill Maher last week?
Yes, I did.
It's one of the best shows ever.
Yeah.
How great was that?
It's a really good one.
Yeah.
His new rule at the end was hysterical. It's one of the best ones he had in a while.
It was great.
I was cracking up the whole time.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't see this yet, but did he find out live while they were taping, or he found out on some other like live?
No, he's doing a comedy routine. He was on stage,
and he found out live. Wow, I haven't seen it.
Let me tell you how sharp again, dude, Trump and his staff is. So he said, Trump, he ain't afraid to boast. He said, originally I was going to do this speech that was basically talking about Joe Biden and his economic policies. It was going to be a humdinger. That's a tremendous white word. Right. He goes, and it would have been, listen to this, the best speech ever. Okay. All right. So, but he says now, listen to this, bro. This is why the guy's a G. He goes, now I'm going to have a chance to talk about America and how we should protect each other. So he's going to try to use this to unite because he's a great uniter, and it's probably going to work because that place is going to go crazy.
Here's the thing. You're not going to unite the left.
Right.
He's talking to the undecided people in the middle, and just like if he can get those right now, that's all he needs to do. You're not going to convince any, like the things like they say Trump is divisive, but the left,
I'm just saying
like
how
the
smart
actual
that
left,
he's going to take
is not
advantage
interested
of
in being unified with the right.
Change his speech. You know what I'm saying?
But the thing is that the left, they say Trump is divisive, and then I'll say, okay, that's fine, but you guys are not interested at all in unifying with the right.
Right.
Like that's just obvious, So you can call that guy divisive,
and
but you're not interested in unifying. So whatever.
Remember what I always used to say, Disco, before he got beat by Biden. I said this all the time. I said, dude, all the shit that Trump said about the other side and how he's fucked with them, they're gonna get him back when he leaves.
All the lock her up and everything that all came back to haunt him. Oh, did you see? They threw out the documents case. Bro, he's just getting so many W's these days. It's it's unbelievable.
He reminds me. Remember John Gotti, who would get off on everything?
Teflon.
He got found guilty. Yeah. Okay. And everybody thought it was such a frivolous case. He made $200 million off it, right?
Right.
Then he got if the first one he got fined $450 million for the Jeannie and Carroll, whatever that was, right? Then he got this, and now because the Supreme Court ruled in the immunity, now they push back his. They're saying that the case that he just lost might be we're kind of looking at what testimony was used in the case that might not have been applicable because it was done under presidential authority. He might be immune from it. So, bro, he might be getting I don't know. It is, for what they've thrown at him, it's unbelievable that he's just he's got the guy in the Matrix where the bullets are flying at him, and he's just he's just not getting hit like they.
I don't know if people are being paid off or They're just calling him and saying, "Hey, if you fuck with him, just don't hope he becomes president."
Right.
Yeah.
Click.
Exactly.
You know, you never know, bro.
Yeah.
Politics is a dirty business because it's just too many wins. But
Right.
maybe he did
It's
win them.
ridiculous.
Maybe he did win them. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Well, that's bro.
Anything's
This has been the
possible.
guy's. This has been the guy's whole life.
Yeah.
You know, investing, losing his ass in investments, getting it back. You know, losing it again. And what is this? The ups and downs, like the roller
Bro,
coaster
being
ride.
it, you know what I saw the other day and I forgot? He was such a name in the 90s. Bro, he was in the movie Home Alone.
Yeah. It was his hotel, the Trump Plaza
rappers
Hotel.
used to rap.
Yeah.
He was in. Look at him, Joe. Look this up. Look at how many times Trump is mentioned in rap lyrics. All right, like the rappers were like, bro, he was like a guy because he had money.
Right.
You know, he was always talking about being rich and being
and he was with hot
That's
models.
the rap community, right? Yeah. So it's
cool
like, you know,
parties. Yeah.
All right.
So he kind of went from a socialite to a reality star.
Right. The TV, bro, to the number
politics.
one. Yeah. That show was the number one rated show on television.
I remember.
Right? So he's got all these. You look at his L's, then he's got these W's, and he has L's again, then he has W's. It's like crazy. He's like,
It says here this article is called because it's an anti-Trump article, but it's one. Trump is an unwanted guest at hip hop's 50th birthday party. As much as many might want to forget it, he was a symbolic and even aspirational figure among many within the rap community.
No, but he's singing the 90s rap lyrics.
No, it says 1989 Ice-T record called My Word Is Bond was among the earliest examples. On the track, rapper Donald D absurdly brags about hanging out with Trump. And, on and on up to Kanye. We don't need to go over every guy, but yeah. And Lil Wayne, Kodak Black, who calls him Uncle Trump. Yeah, like...
Yeah, because they see a guy with balls, and that's big in the hip-hop community.
Bro, the guy did business with these guys. He had the casino. They come perform. It's like he had the arena. Like these guys all perform for this guy. Like he comes backstage. He meets these guys. Like hey, he helped make these guys money. So they weren't good. So that's why he's kind of like got bitter that whole community kind of ended up shitting back on him. Because he ran against the Democrats. So whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's get back to the mail.
50 pictures of him and Snoop. And then all of a sudden, Snoop, and it's like, then I don't trust him anymore because it's like, do you really feel that way, or is it better for your career to bury him?
Right. Okay. So next is